Hey everybody, Aaron Cowan, Sage Dynamics. This week's video, we're taking a look at the Dead Air Silencer Sandman S multi-cal suppressor. Now, the Sandman S ships with a 30 cal or 308 end cap. For those of you not familiar with it, Dead Air offers a 308 end cap, 30 cal end cap, and a 5.56 end cap, which makes the can pretty versatile. There's always been this search for people, especially people first getting into suppressors. Some people, not everybody, but they want a 30 cal suppressor that they can use on their 30 cal guns and using their 5.56 guns. The problem has been, at least in my experience across a wide degree of cans, is the 30 cal cans just don't sound good on the 5.56. Sound good, what does that mean? Well, the hearing attenuation, the decibel reduction just isn't as good as a dedicated 5.56 can, so they sound a little sloppy. So the search has always been for a 30 cal can that would perform well on your 30 cal and your 5.56. So if you're going to go through the whole process of getting a suppressor, you know, it's going to take 6, 8, 11 months to even get the thing out of jail, so to speak, so you can take possession of it once your tax stamp comes back. Do you really want to go through that process with multiple cans? And then there's the factor of how much a can costs. A quality can is going to run you, you know, $800 and up, depending on the system you go with. So finally having a can where you can just swap end caps out makes a huge difference. Of course, when I first found out that this was an option on the Dead Air, on the Sandman S, I was like, well, is changing out the end cap really going to make a huge difference? Now, thinking about it intuitively, I was like, yeah, it should make a huge difference because end caps are end caps. And that's going to reduce the diameter, reduce the amount of gas that can escape at the same time as the bullet. So that would, in theory, reduce the muzzle report, what you can hear, the decibel reduction level, so to speak. So when I first got my hands on a Sandman S, very first time I got one, I put about 1,000 rounds through one on a loaner can, but I only had the 308 cap, and it was still pretty quiet shooting 5.56. When I finally got my own back, or got my own in, I should say, I bought one from Big Tex Outdoors. Finally came in, took possession of it, and took it out to the range, and I was able to get my hands on a 5.56 end cap as well. So before we get into the review and the end caps and everything like that, let's talk about the features of the can. Just over 17 ounces and just over 6 inches in length. 17 ounces would be heavy for a 5.56 can, but this can is rated up to 300 Win Mag. So the weight is actually really manageable. I didn't find it noticeably heavy, so that was good. Stellite baffles, again, removable end caps, 30 cal 5.56 223. And it's got a ratcheting mount system. It's not a traditional mount system, ratchet mount system like you may have seen on some other guns. Basically, you've got an indexing point right there. It goes on, it tabs in, few twists, it's locked in. Now, of course, the big deal with quick detach cans has always been, is there going to be a point of impact shift from suppressed to unsuppressed or unsuppressed to suppressed? I always zero with my guns suppressed because that's predominantly how I shoot them. Unless there's a reason I have to take a can off of a gun, I shoot them suppressed at all times. There's just no reason not to. There are no disadvantages to running a gun suppressed if given the choice. So that's something, well, of course, length could be an issue, but that's why, you know, you get shorter guns. So for me, I'm always going to zero suppress. Now, for the review process, I definitely want to check out to see, is there going to be a point of aim, point of impact shift, which is something I'll show you later in the video. So, decibel reduction, obviously the biggest feature that we want from a can. Is it going to reliably reduce decibels? Well, this can is multi-caliber. So I had two 308s to run it on. I have 20-inch Remington 700 AAC, and I also have a PWS Mark II Mod 1, which is a 14.5 inch. So it should be a little louder on that. I ran it on both platforms. and I would say it was noticeably louder, relatively speaking, on the 14.5-inch PWS, but it was still well within the hearing safe range and something I could shoot comfortably all day long. Being that was a piston gun, it didn't provide any significant back pressure issues for me to experience, gas in the face or anything like that. It's not something I noticed. It ran great on the Remington 700. Obviously, that being a bolt gun, I got that one recoil pulse. The can did noticeably help keep the muzzle flatter versus when I run it without the can, just using the dead air brake. Now, I also ran the dead air, the Sandman S, on my agency classified rifle, 223 5.56. Predominantly fired PMC and Wolf throughout the review process. Of course, these cans, I don't know if they actually quote them as full auto rated. In the literature that comes with the can, it doesn't say anything about that. But I've seen multiple videos, including from Dead Air themselves, of them running these things on select fire weapon saws and things of that nature, and they did just fine. Now, I don't have access to a select fire lower, at least I didn't during this review process. But of course, burn down, something I do during my 2,000 round review process. It's still something I do. It was one of the first things I did. So I went ahead and put 500 rounds, 17 magazines, 16 plus, through this can as fast as I could to see if it would cause any issues.
Starting. Too hot for the gun.
Got the can super hot. Obviously, my temp gun actually times out at 640. I need to get a better one because that can was definitely hotter than that. Cerakote finish with a nitrided attachment, your collar. So I did lose, I introduced a patina. I didn't lose the paint. Paint is still there, it's just changed color, and I'm fine with that. Some people think that's a big deal, but if you get a can hot, paint is paint. No matter how high the temperature is rated for, even metal, you get it to a certain degree, it's going to take onto it. It's going to change the color, so to speak. So it's not a huge issue. The paint is still there. It's just kind of a different color now because I cooked it a little bit, and that's okay. Now, again, throughout the review process, I put 2,000 rounds through the can. 250, that was 308, the remainder of it being 5.56. Main reason being, let's be honest, 5.56 is cheaper. 1,000 rounds of 308 would be a little ridiculous. Totally doable, if it was a 308 dedicated can, I would have made that sacrifice and went ahead and did that. But because it's multi-cal, I decided to take advantage of that, and be honestly, I shoot my 5.56 way more than I shoot my my 308s, relatively speaking. So I'm always going to use this more for 5.56. As far as proprietary systems go, almost every suppressor on the market has proprietary muzzle devices. Now, with the Dead Air, you get the flash hider or the brake. Put 2 brakes on my 308s, and the agency rifle, the classified, comes pinned with their flash hider. You also have the pyro, which is something I'll address in a later video. But it, like I showed you, get your indexing point, it tabs in there, quick connect. As far as the end cap goes, the end cap removal requires a special tool, or you just to find a tool that's going to work. It is threaded, really easy removal, as I'll show you right now, installation of the next cap, and the 308 cap is purposely designed to look different from the 5.56 cap so we don't have any mistakes. And of course, if a mistake does happen, if you do shoot 308 through this can when your 5.56 end cap is on it, it's nice to know that you can replace it. But I like the fact that they made the 308 cap visually look different. So as long as you're paying attention, a little bit of attention, you'll be like, oh wait, that's my 308 cap, or oh wait, that's my 5.56 cap. Obviously, you can shoot 5.56 through the 308, but you probably shouldn't shoot 308 through the 5.56 because it won't fit. So always the elephant in the room when it comes to quick attach suppressors, as opposed to direct thread or integrally suppressed. Point of impact shift, mentioned earlier in the video. Is there going to be a meaningful point of impact, point of aim shift? I zero all my guns with suppressors on. So I zeroed my Remington 700 for 100 meters, obviously, bolt gun. Fired 3 rounds, confirming zero. And then I removed the can and fired another 3-round group. So what you're looking at now is the first group, fired suppressed, 3 rounds real quick. And then I immediately, same day, same situation, as soon as possible, removed that can, put up a new target, fired another 3 rounds. There is a noticeable point of impact, point of aim shift. I would say 1/2 inch to 1 inch, depending on how you do your math. Again, not my best shooting, 2 3-round groups. Firing, bipod supported out of the back of a truck. Not the most stable conditions ever, because, shot groups are going to be subjective. But as you can see, the shift is minimal at 100 meters. Is that going to make a huge difference as range increases? Well, obviously, if it's noticeable at 100 meters, it's going to be super noticeable at 4, 5, 6, 7, 800 meters, so on and so forth, out to the, exceeding the envelope of the round that you're firing. There's just no way to not have that happen. I would say the shift is minimal. I'd say it's well within acceptable ranges. I'm not upset about it at all. Mainly because just me, one, it's not a huge deal. It's not a huge, it's a consistent shift. You can even dope for that if you really want to be pedantic about it, or just don't take the can off. Shoot with the can on. If there's a reason to take the can off, reconfirm your zero for unsuppressed fire. It's going to, take you 3 or 4 rounds to make that adjustment, get it locked in, save that dope. So when you're ready to go back to the can, you dial in your new dope, reset your turret, shoot to confirm, you're good to go. Not a huge deal. So final verdict on the Sandman S. This is an awesome can. This can is the often sought out but never found multi-caliber can for 30 cal 5.56. Being able to change out the end caps does help significantly. Shooting 5.56 through this with the through-it cap on, it's got a little more bite to it. I wouldn't say significantly noticed a huge difference, but I did notice a difference when I put the 5.56 cap on it. That made a huge difference, at least to my ear. And again, it's all about the shooter's ear. How you perceive the decibel level of the can is what really, really matters. I mean, obviously we want the cans to be quiet to shooters around us, or if we're working in a team environment, but really it's all about the shooter's ear. I love this can. I'm just going to be straight up honest with you. I think this is one of the best cans I've used in a long time, and I am pretty picky when it comes to suppressors, and you should be too. Just because it's such a huge investment, there's legal paperwork we have to go through, and this is one of those cans that, it's a 30 cal and it's a 5.56, two of the most popular caliber ranges that you can get. So you can throw this on your, your 300 blackout, you can throw it on your bolt gun, your precision gun, you can throw it on your, your 5.56, your SBR, 223, what have you, up to 300 Win Mag. So this is truly, if you only want to get into one can for very popular rifle calibers, the Sandman S or the Sandman L. If you want a little more hearing decibel reduction, definitely a good choice. So I'm giving 2 huge thumbs up to the Sandman S can, and I do plan on picking up another one because why buy one when you can get 2 at twice the price? I'm Aaron Cowan with Sage Dynamics. Suppress accordingly.